Hey guys, Jason for TheChartGuys. Taking a look at some trades today, and these setups were offered inside the TheChartGuys community, and pretty much the TheChartGuys community is the greatest collection of people ever, in my very, very humble and not at all biased opinion. What we do is we share technical analysis setups, we talk about potential trades, and we teach each other how to use technical analysis to recognize profitable scenarios. So I'm going to walk through a few of these that were offered up today, and we'll look at how they played out and what was going on. So on weed, on the 5-minute time frames, we're also traded as CGC, but I'm just going to talk about the weed ticker today. There was a great trade when we saw a nice trend change early in the morning, and this looks best on the 2-minute time frame, but we had a high here. We had our first initial bounce and good volume, 37.52. We pulled back from that, set a low at 37.19, and then we established a higher low on our next attempt, ultimately hitting that 37.52 again. So as soon as we pulled back from that 37.52 and saw this strength, we're looking at this 5-minute higher low and saying, look, we've got this big drop, but we don't see the continuation. In fact, we're seeing a little bit of the opposite action here. Bulls are showing up. So if you go to the 2-minute time frame, this makes more sense. So here's that high, rejection from that EMA 12, our 37.19. We establish a lower high, but you know what? We establish a higher low, 37.21. Then bulls pick up the speed, reject from that 37.52 level, not once, but twice, still holding EMA 12. Finally, we break through, and we don't get that monster breakout move that sometimes we want to see when we're breaking resistance levels, but it's telling us that this wall is no longer there, and the bulls who have been in charge down here are going to remain in charge for the foreseeable future, meaning until the trends change. So we see that come into play. We ride that all the way up to 37.93. We get a beautiful, perfect indecision candlestick. And if you've taken the candlestick course or really just studied candlesticks at all, you know that these can often represent beautiful areas of reversal, especially when you're getting overbought on the time frame that you're watching. And we are plus 70 RSI on the 2-minute time frame. Beautiful doji, and we get that dump. So that's the first great trade that we saw on weed. A nice break at 37.52 and a nice move to the upside. The second one is what's happening over here on the 2-minute time frame. This nice tight winding action, and it looks almost EQ-ish. We are getting higher highs, which is good, but you know, big range is set up initially, a smaller range. We break without really seeing any action, which tells me one of two things. A, we're going to go in the opposite direction, or B, there's just not a lot of commitment. So if there's not a lot of commitment in a direction, it means either you're going to the downside or you're going to be facing equilibrium. And when we see this break of 37.78 by 1 penny, and we pull back and we don't set a lower low underneath our current level at 37.65, which I'll just mark out right there, that tells me that there's not a lot of decision either way. We come back up, we break up resistance by a penny again, nothing happens. We come back down, and then as soon as we break 37.67 and we see that 2-minute level hold, we get a lower high, break that, break 37.65, volume pours in, and we drop pretty far, pretty quick, hitting that low 37.08, oversold on the 2-minute time frame, oversold on the 5-minute time frame, and then bounce. That's trade opportunity 2. So another easy, recognizable setup. And of course, it's always easier in retrospect. But, you know, if you have a team of people helping you, watching the same things and pointing out things you may have missed, which is the beauty of the community or any community, you're going to make a lot better trades and have the power of 1,000 eyes behind you. Last trade is towards the end of the day. We had this nice 5-minute downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, 36.83. Finally, we get a trend change. So if we look at our 5-minute trend, we need to break over 37.04. So what happens on that? When that happens, on the 2-minute time frame, 37.04, we establish a higher low. We get a 2-minute trend change by establishing a higher low there. So this is a lower low, higher high, higher low. Finally, we break 37.04. Volume starting to pick up for the bulls, and it's been a lot more here, a lot more bull volume than we've seen for the bears. And see the shift here from bearish volume to bullish volume. Then we get that break, and then things pick up speed again, and we go all the way up to that nice close near that 37.65 area of support we saw over there. So right into overbought territory. Great plays on weed, great setups, and just really nice technical work. And all of this was brought to my attention by someone else who knew that I was too busy looking at other tickers. And for that, I'm very grateful. And for that, a lot of the people in the community are grateful. Next one we saw was a short on SHOP. And I apologize if I call it OSTK. I had OSTK in my head all day, and this was a mistake I kept making. But we're talking about SHOP. So, if SHOP is in a daily downtrend, that's important because we need to know that we've got a bearish bias right now on SHOP. And we're early in the morning, we were looking at the 15-minute time frame, and one of the guys in the chat said, asked my opinion, said, are we going to look for a SHOP short right now? And we were right about here in the morning, about 7:45. And I looked at this and I said, no, I don't think it's going to be a short position right now, because what do you see here on the 15-minute time frame? And if you look to the left of everything here, this looks like a beautiful bull flag situation. So what we wanted to see was, are the bulls going to get the follow through that they're setting themselves up for on SHOP? So 15-minute time frame, a little bit of a dicey situation. You could take a short entry, but you have no idea what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen in the market. We could very easily just break through 335.09 and just rocket ship right up. And 335.09 was that area of resistance on the hourly time frame that's come into play a couple times. So this is the origination of that short play. We're close to that area. What do you think? Well, I see strength. I don't see a lot of weakness yet. So no, I don't think I would take a short position quite yet. I don't got a sense of what's going to happen. This is a bullish pattern. We're seeing strength. We need to see if we get any commitment. So on the 5-minute time frame, we decide to wait. Then we start to see this action play out. 330.22, we get a lower high. 340, or we get a higher high on the 5-minute time frame. 334.07, so it's starting to look a little bit like the bulls are going to make a go for it here. We get a higher low, we start to pull up, we get a lower high, and then finally we get a trend change on the 5-minute time frame. We break 331.12, we break 330.22, which is the level I believe I had pointed out at the time as the level that would ultimately just negate our 15-minute bull flag by setting a low underneath that. And then we see that bearish volume come in, we get a pullback, a back test at 330.22, and we just keep riding this EMA 12 all the way down until we establish a higher low at 323.98, and then we get a break above a trend change at 326.23, and just go in the opposite direction. So if you had just played these key levels, 330.22 to the trend change, 326.23, you would have had a very profitable situation. And it's all about being able to recognize potential outcomes, looking at this and saying, are we ready for a short position? Maybe, but let's wait until we know for sure that this bull flag doesn't have the strength and commitment to follow through on that 335.09. And the reason I pointed it out on the daily time frame, because if you had known what the daily was doing, and I'm sure my friend certainly did, because I was only looking at the 15, there's going to be a lot more weight here to the downside that says, you know what, we got bearish pressure, we're up against resistance, this looks like an ideal short opportunity. And credit to him, he was correct, and I think he was even more correct for waiting for confirmation from the trends to capitalize on that. And you know what, the risk to reward was not that much. Even if he had just grabbed his short position at 334 and instead of 330.22, you know what? Not a lot of gained reward for the substantial increase in risk that he saw there. All right, the last one we're going to look at today is OSTK on the hourly time frame. And I've got another video that I put out today and yesterday about OSTK that really set up this particular play. But it's also, we're going to talk about the bounce that we saw on the 5-minute time frame. So on OSTK yesterday, we saw a beautiful hourly bear flag. It set up nicely out of the gate this morning. We saw a break of those lows. We lost 20.06 support. We saw big volume coming in. And ultimately, what we were looking for was a drop and a test of support at 18.02. Our initial drop was down to 18.08. We saw a little bit of a bounce. Then we started to grind out this 18 psychological level. And that's when it starts to get interesting. We get a great bottom fish opportunity. And a bottom fish is when you're expecting the price to come down and grind against that level, knowing that not knowing, but anticipating you've got a cloud of buyers who are willing to absorb everything that is thrown at them. So it doesn't matter how many people are selling OSTK stock, they're going to buy it at 18 and they don't care. They're just going to keep doing it and they're going to sit there and buy everything. Eventually, when that happens, the supply starts to dwindle, and all these people who are interested in getting some of that sweet OSTK 18s start to pay a little bit more for it, and we see the price turn around. So this historical level 1802 was from way back, and this is a zone of support. What we're concerned about and what we're focusing on is this triple bottom on the 2-minute time frame at that 18 level. And this is easy to get into because you bounce once, you get to it twice, you can pick up a share at 1802 and set your stop loss right on the other side at 1898. Absolutely minimal risk, minimal potential loss, and so much upside potential. Bottom fishing and top fishing plays are absolutely wonderful. And in this case, if you had made that trade, even if you got a couple minutes behind, let's say you got in at, I don't know, 1820, you still were able to ride this 2-minute, 5-minute trend all the way up and look for a trend change. Let's say you got in at 1820, where'd that go? Right there, 1820. Ride this 2-minute trend, keeping EMA 26, ultimately failing at the loss of 1892. That's a pretty good trade. 70 cents on an $18 stock, not bad. And it's just a perfect bottom fish, just playing 2-minute trend changes to find your exit. And that's what it's all about. So I'm done making videos today. I've been here for a long time. I hope they're helpful, and I hope it helps you make some good trades. I don't know. I'm out. Thanks, guys.